Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have a rant. And I got a rant about two things. First of all, Time came out with the top 50 podcasts. We weren't one of them. It's wrong. I'm just saying. Hey, here's the deal. I have been worried about Tesla Superchargers and ranting about them for a few years. And mostly what I rant about is that there's not enough, right? That with all these Model 3 coming, and we believe right now they're up to nearly 3,000 a week. With all these Model 3s, we need a huge expansion in the Tesla charging network, because that's what differentiates Tesla from everybody else. The ability to turn this car into a real car because you can drive it long distances through this Tesla Supercharger network. But here's the problem, and I'll give you the exact scenario. We're in UC Santa Cruz. We've got about 100 miles of range. We've got a 335-mile drive back home in a Model X 90D with about 250 miles of rated range. Right? Right. So we go from Santa Cruz to Salinas, and we stop there and we fill up, and then we say, look, let's just go another sort of about halfway to Los Angeles and plug in at a Tuscadero. Everything's fine. You get to a Tuscadero, and here's the problem. The supercharger network there of 10 stalls is full except for one, which is okay, so we go and plug in. So the first problem is that, you know, this supercharger network in California is often like that, often full, sometimes have to wait. But we get in there and you plug in. Now the way these work is that you've got one stand and it divides 130, 140 kilowatts of charge. So you're supposed to get about 70. If somebody's on one side of the pillar, you're on the other side, you should get 70 kilowatts. It's not perfect. You're going to be a lot much slower than that ability to sort of get 300 miles range in, you know, an hour. So let's say you should be getting like 200 miles per hour of charge. But the problem is that we had, and this happens all the time, is that when that whole thing is full, you don't get half the speed, you get about a quarter of the speed. And on our heads-up display it said, in order to get to the next part of your journey in a Tuscadero, 2 hours 25 minutes. That is just like ridiculous. That's unacceptable. It's so slow when the whole thing is full, because clearly they can't keep up with the massive amount of electricity that is getting sucked through those pipes into the supercharger. So I would suggest that when Elon and others comes out and say how fast supercharging is, you need to realize that that's under the best of circumstances, when you're by yourself or when there's just a few cars there. But when that bank is full, it's a huge problem. It happened again. So we decided not to charge all the way up. We just charge enough to get to Bhutan or whatever it is, which is about 100 miles north of where we live. And again, when we get there, all of them are full except for one. One had an ICE car in it and one was broken, but all of the other 8 were full. And when we plug in, same thing again. We're getting 30 kilowatts, not 70, certainly not the full 130. We got 30. So we went and had some dinner. And then we came out. Now as people left, sure, the charging rate went up, but the supercharger network is a problem. It's what makes a Tesla a real car when it works, but it has to work, so we need more of them. And they have to fix this problem of when it's full to still get a fast rate of charge. And that probably means capacitors, or it means batteries, but you can't have 12 superchargers there and have 12 cars plugged in and get just a fraction of the amount of charging speed that you potentially could get. That's just going to tick people off. Honestly, if I had to get to do that again and I had to do it really fast, then obviously I'd take a car with longer range like a Model 3, or I'd have to take an ICE car. So my beef is we need to make the supercharger network work better. And I also think that really for electric cars to truly compete, we need 400 miles of real range. That would be enough for you to drive for many hours for most destinations and not have to charge in between, or just have to charge once. My name's Herbert. Rant over.